Do you want your game to transition from looking like this with dull and uninteresting colors with poor FPS to a vibrant appearance and a smoother performance like this? If so, then this video will tell you the best PostFX and graphic settings for visibility and performance, and also some monitor settings in the Nvidia control panel. Without wasting any time, let's get straight into it. Firstly, in the game settings under the game tab, this is mainly all preference-based settings, but I have automatic RAM cleaner and only use physical cores unchecked as I'm not really sure what these two do. And for FOV I have on 70, as the wider your FOV the less frames you get, but obviously the more you can see. So I balanced it between visibility and frames, so I put it at 70, and the rest are just preference based. Moving on to graphic settings, my screen resolution is my native, which is 1920 by 1080. Also play on borderless as it makes it easier to alt tab out the game. And my aspect ratio is 5:3, as this gives you a slight FPS boost as your screen is slightly stretched, but nothing that makes the game look awful. The main graphic settings, I have texture quality on medium and shadows quality on low. If you have a worse computer, I recommend turning texture quality onto low, as when I used to have a 1050 Ti when I was playing Tarkov, I could not run this game at all on medium settings. For object LOD quality, I usually have this on about 3 to 3.5, as this allows you to see players from further, and it also lets things like trees spawn in quicker. For example, as you can see here, this is the minimum LOD quality, and you can see I'm not very far from the tree and it's just going in and out. But if I turn my LOD quality up to 3.5 and tab back in, you can see the tree is in and I'm backing up and it is completely there still. This effect also happens with players, so the further they are and the higher your LOD quality, the easier you can spot them from a distance. So I recommend having your LOD quality on 3 to 3.5 depending on your computer's performance. My overall visibility is also on 1000. For anti-aliasing, I have this on TAA as it removes the sharp angles in-game that can be really distracting if this setting is turned off. As you can see by this crane, you can see all the wires are popping in and out and it looks really ugly. So when I turn this setting to TAA, you can see that the wires aren't as prominent, they aren't glitching in and out as much, and it just looks much better. It'll tank some FPS, but I think it's worth it. For the rest of these settings I have turned off, like resampling, Nvidia DLSS, I have them all off, all these ones, as these just tank FPS. Obviously if you want your game to look better, then turn these on if you have a good computer. And for Nvidia Reflex low latency, just put this on plus boost, it will just make your graphics card more in touch with Tarkov. For my sharpness I just have this really low, and then the FPS is I just have on maximum amount. Then all the check marks at the bottom I have unticked except from Streets of Tarkov lower texture resolution mode, which just puts the texture resolution onto low when you're on Streets so it runs better. I highly recommend ticking this. BIP streaming, I don't use it as it makes your game look really bad. I would recommend using it if you have an awful computer, but apart from that I wouldn't recommend using it. Moving on to PostFX settings, I mainly have most of my visual settings in the Nvidia control panel, but in game I have my brightness on 0, as this just makes your game look really bright and like heaven, so just keep that on 0. And my saturation, I have that on 50, as I changed a lot of this colorfulness in Nvidia control panel, which I'll show you in a moment. So keep that on 50. As you can see, if you turn it up it just makes the game more brighter or darker depending on which way you turn it. For clarity, I put this on 15. This can tank a bit of FPS if you turn it up. It just makes the game brighter sometimes. I don't really know. I just don't like the look of it maxed out, so I just put it on 15. For colorfulness, I just put this on 50, as this is changed in the Nvidia control panel later on, and if you put it too high now, it would just make the game look like Fortnite. For Luma and Adaptive Sharpen, I keep these on around 20, as this just makes the game look more crisp, as you can see when I'm moving the sliders. Just more detail in like the grass and all the details around. So I just leave these on about 20. For my color grading, I have this on Chill Wave of an intensity of 10. This just makes the game look a bit more dramatic and gives it a bit more of a pop just looks good. Don't recommend using any other color grading, as most of them just look like Instagram filters, so yeah, just stick with that. With the colorblind settings, I use Tritanopia at an intensity of 30. This makes the blues a bit purpley and the greens greener. As you can see, the grass looks quite yellow here. When I turn the intensity up, it turns it more green, looking like that. For the sound settings, it's pretty much preference based, but I recommend having your overall volume on 100, and I also recommend turning on binaural audio because it's pretty good now. It used to be pretty bad, it used to drop your FPS, but now it's pretty good. Now for the Nvidia control panel settings, obviously you can't actually see these on the video because it's a monitor setting, so I'm going to be showing you video of my phone or my actual monitor to show you what it looks like. Just want to go into the tab of adjust desktop color settings on the left side, and the first one is brightness, which looks like this. I keep brightness on 50% as it doesn't really look good when you turn it up, so just keep it on 50%. With the contrast, you just want to keep this on default 50% as well, as this just makes your game either really dark and black and white or very colourful, which you don't want as you change this in the digital vibrance, as you can see at the bottom. For gamma, this is one of the bigger ones, as this allows you to see a lot better in darker areas, as you can see by this clip here. As you can see much better in places like dorms and on other maps, and especially at nighttime raids, you can see a lot better. So I put this on 1.54. I find that it's a sweet spot, because if you put it too high, then your screen just goes completely white and it just looks awful. So 1.54 is what I found to be the best. Digital vibrance is the last setting we're going to change, and I use 94%, which is quite high, but if you remember from earlier, this is why I don't change my in-game color settings as much, as I find the Nvidia settings look way better. This is what the digital vibrance setting looks like in person. So as you can see, the colors in my monitor look way better, and it just looks so much better in Nvidia instead of the game. That's it for the settings, but before I end the video, I just want to say a big thank you for all the support on the channel lately, and I really appreciate it. Your support means the world to me, whether it's through likes, comments, or just watching the videos. I also have many other videos coming out soon, such as the best money runs for different maps like Woods, Interchange, and Customs, and I've got more funny videos on the way, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, take care and have fun in Tarkov.